Hello, 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 crafty friends. How you doing? I've been really excited about today. I just love making these little flower pots. It gives me joy. So I'm very excited about doing this with you. Come on in, Margie. I don't have chat yet.
Oh, hit it once. That was just
There we
totally my
go.
fault.
Let's say hello to
Didn't
people.
double
We got
check.
Annette, we got Irene, and Mary T. Annette Sharma's here. Thelma's here. And I think that's where we
They
are.
have been busy chatting with 28 chats on there already.
That's where we are as of now. Go ahead and put the camera in my hands if
Okay.
you would. And I'm going to show you what we're going to make. This is our project for the day. A little three-dimensional pot filled with daffodils. They're just so darn cute. I just love them. So this is the daffodils. And I also promised that we would show you how to do the three-dimensional tulips as well. So we're going to hit the tulips, also just kind of the construction. The everything from the pot to the leaves is the same on the two, so I just need to show you how to make the flowers on those. So let's talk a little bit about what we need to do this. You're going to need um, 1/4 inch rust for the terracotta pot. I've already taken the time to, um, sure, it's always okay to put stuff on the Facebook page as long as it's crafting related, not political or other things. It's fine. Um, so I've already glued together 10 strips of my 1/4 inch rust paper. It takes 10 strips to make a pot this size. Wowzer, you would never guess that, but it does. So we're going to make our pot out of rust. I strongly suggest you use 1/4 inch and not 1/8 inch for your for your pot.
It needs that sturdiness.
Well, the 1/8 inch pushes through when you go to mold it.
Yeah.
And then we have potty mouse. Because we just took the time to roll up 10 strips of paper only to have it push right through and just uncoil on us. So, yes, we'll get to our potty training here in a minute, but in the meantime, I want to show you what we're going to use for flowers. I'm using leaf green. All of my strips are from Quilt Creations. They absolutely have the best paper. Very uniform, a nice weight to work with, just always good results. So we're using leaf green. We're using bright yellow. Let's see what it's actually called. It just says yellow, but bright yellow. We are going to use scarlet red, and then we're using orange. I didn't realize when I pulled it out of my box and started using it that I was actually using the fancy orange. I don't care for the fancy effects right now. I'm still going to use this, but so I'm turning the foiled side down, which is almost sinful, but that's okay.
It is.
I'm also, other tools I recommend you have available. It's good to have a crimper if you have one. This is optional tool, but fun. And I'm using a curling coach. If you haven't used this before, this is a really nifty tool for this now. Most of the time, this curling coach, these rings are printed around the hole and they're useful for determining the size of your roll. I didn't realize I'm working right in front of my shirt that's the same color. Mine, I have this one because it was misprinted. And when we have defective products, they come to me. So it doesn't affect the usability of it at all. And then a couple other things that could be helpful is having a ruler / measuring guide if you find this helpful. And this can be helpful, this dome creator. This is, it will be useful at least to show you what this is used for. I tend to do some of the pot making more by hand, but hi Roberta, but it is a useful tool to get you started. So I'll show you how we use that. At least you might enjoy seeing that. I have my pin board out just in case I decide I want it. Sometimes when you're gluing things together, it's useful to have your cork board and your pins available. This is the back of my I don't even know what you call this. My board. Here's the front. I'm actually using the back. So
A board.
It's a board. It's a board. That's the technical term. Okay, couple things you want to do to get yourself started while we're waiting. We're going to make our stems. We need our stems to be especially strong for this because even though these are little paper flowers, when you consider the weight of these flowers compared to the durability of a single stem, the stems, hi Catherine, the stem is not going to hold that up unless we have a heavier stem. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a full piece of green. This is not a full piece because I've already done this once. You're going to take a full piece of green. You're going to fold it in half. Margie's throwing leaves at me from across the table, guys. She's throwing things at me and then laughing about it.
Well, if I was being cruel, then that wouldn't be funny, but I'm helping.
But it makes a great story my way. I'm going to run a bead of glue, a little trail of glue all the way down that strip on the inside. Neatness gives you no extra points. And I'm going to push those together. And then I'm going to run my fingers down and push the air out of it. And what I end up with, once that dries, I set this one aside and let it dry for a few minutes so I could show you what I was doing. Once it dries for doing the half strip, then I want you to fold the half strip in half again. So you end up with 4 layers of paper in your stem. Does that mean just be glad she's not throwing anything heavier? There's times I know she wants to.
There's rocks over here somewhere. I'm positive.
I actually have rocks for rock painting down here.
No, I was thinking more of like the little gravel that goes in your pots. I was thinking kindly. I wasn't thinking about.
Oh, I have rock painting rocks over here. Okay, so I made in total 2 stem pieces, and these are 4 layers of paper. Okay, super simple to do. Fold it in half, run your glue down it, press the air out, kind of let it dry, fold it in half again. And that says, oh no, duck. And glue it again. So you have 4 layers thick on that stem. Now this stem is going to be heavy enough to hold our flowers. Okay, I need 2 of those to make my pot because I have 3 flowers we're going to make. And I need half of that as stem for my tulip we're going to make. Okay, let's go ahead and get our pot going. If I had just glued this together, I would say start on the end you started gluing on and let those seams at the other end dry a little bit before you do this. Here's how we use our curling coach. We're going to stick our quilling tool through the curling coach like that, right through the middle of his head, poor guy.
And then I'm cruel.
We're going to feed this strip onto my curler, onto my quilling tool, and I'm going to start wrapping. And I'm going to wrap, and I'm going to wrap, and I'm going to wrap, and I'm going to wrap. Now, the reason we're using this curling coach is because this disc that we're creating is going to get pretty big, and the curling coach will help keep that from just coming loose and flopping all over the place while you're trying to work. So the curling coach becomes kind of a backer. And that says the violence tonight is real. You can see the little coils lift sometimes, and I kind of push it back down on there. But just imagine how that would be if I were trying to keep tabs on both sides. And I'm just going to keep curling this and curling this and curling this. We're going to create one nice big disc. I have my hands pretty close to where it's curling, and I'm just controlling the tension with my fingers near the coil, and I just keep curling. Did anybody wonder what this little man-shaped tool was for? You guys may have seen this before. Oops. Let my tension go just a little bit there, and it tried to uncurl on me. It's absolutely gorgeous in Portland today. Beautiful sunshine. I don't know what the temp's like outside. I haven't been out. And I won't be going out other than to go back and forth from the house to the shop because the pollen is really starting to fall now. When you get in the car, the windows are yellow.
They started being yellow, I think, a few weeks ago, and then it kind of stopped for a little bit. Now it's back. And all I have to say is achoo.
Yes, me too.
I'm sorry. I think I just make them smaller than you do.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm trying.
I can adjust. All right. So I've got my 10 strips all wound onto my curling tool. And you can see it actually doesn't end up being huge. My disc does not end up being huge when I get it done. That's 10 strips of paper. Now I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to glue this before I take my tool out. And you don't need an awful lot of glue. You just need enough to hold that in place. Well, we're sitting right in the middle of a whole bunch of evergreens here. My house is surrounded. And guess what I'm allergic to? Evergreen pollen. Can you tip the camera down a little, Margie, please? There we go. Now I'm going to take that disc, and I'm working on my table, and I'm just flipping it one side and then the other and making that disc really flat. So I have a nice flat disc here. You can see the different tensions I used when I was making this create little rings in it. That's okay. That's okay. Bryce did not. I don't know if Bryce got the cookbook yet. Tonight by 6:30. Well, it's only 4:15 out here, Roberta. So it may still be coming tonight. Okay, I've got my disc. Now, let's bring in this tool.
Did she do the ice full of cherries recipe?
I don't know.
It's just a surprise.
I'm anxious to see what that is that she's talking about. I like to actually kind of push this out a little bit with my fingers to get it started. So you can see I'm just taking my thumbs and I'm going inside, and I'm kind of pushing that out a little bit. I find that with my fingers, I can kind of control a little bit more where the pot is extending, but you can actually use these domes to help you get the different shapes going. And that can be very, very useful. Oh, it's like my friend, she's a beekeeper. Guess what? She's allergic to bees. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this pot so far. Now, one of the things I'm going to watch for here, I'm going to watch to make sure that no ring on my pot is getting too wide. I just kind of pushed it back together again because I had a ring here that was probably half of my ring was exposed. And that's a little too much at one time. So I'm going to put this back on the shaping mold again. I'm pushing the bottom down. Now, what I want to do is I want the bottom of my pot to be flat because I want it to sit flat on the table when I get it done. Let's see how this is by comparison. It's just about right. It's just about right. Once I have this pot just the way I like it, isn't that cute? Look at that little pot. Oh, Roberta, that's so sweet. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully he'll bring it in if we're in here and he opens it. Depends on how it's addressed. If it's addressed to me, he won't open it. He just assumes it's business stuff he doesn't care about. And this little mold can be very useful in helping you get that shape to your pots. And look how easy it was. 10 pieces glued end to end. Now the only thing I don't like, I like torn edges better than cut edges, and I'm kind of irritated with myself that I did not tear the end of this. See how obvious my end piece is there? See it right there in between my fingernails? I have a definite ridge there. Okay, if it's addressed to Bryce and Debbie, I think maybe he'll open it. I hope he will. Here, let's just text him. Please open Roberta's package when it arrives and bring it out. There we go. Okay, so we've got our little tiny pot, and it's adorable. I'm going to take some glue. I can just use my Cosmic Shimmer, and I'm going to put some nice amount of Cosmic Shimmer in here. I'm going to show you just a minute. Some people like to do this part with a paintbrush. I don't mind getting really messy because that's what I do.
They shouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I'm putting a nice amount of glue inside here because what this glue is going to do is it's going to keep my pot from unraveling. So I'm going to put my finger in there. I'm just going to twist that around. Remember, this glue is going to dry clear, so it just doesn't matter at all that there's going to be places where the glue is heavy, but I want everything covered in glue. So there we go. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. We have our pot. We have a pot, Margie.
A pot is important.
All right. All right.
So if you make
So we're going to set this aside. We're completely done with this at this point. Next, we're going to start our blossoms. Let's get our yellow out. And my caution on this one is that you want to keep these blossom petals small. So, got a couple pieces there as soon as I decide for sure. Look here. I had one inside the package. We'll use that. That's beautiful. We'll use it.
Do you want me to make petals?
Yeah, I'm going to need 12. And I think, just let me start one here and make sure what my length is. I think I used 7 inches. Actually, if it's 7 inches and this is 17-inch paper, I might as well use 8.5. But I'm going to make sure. I'm going to have to make sure when I'm using 8.5 that I am not letting them get too big, which is what I tend to do if I'm not controlling myself. I like the petals on our daffodils to be really vibrant yellow, and we're going to get that if it's not uncoiled too far. So I'm taking half a piece of yellow, and let me just verify my measurements here before we get too far. I'm not gluing this coil. I'm going to let this coil unwind just a bit. If I'm using my little measuring tool, which is the other thing you can use this ruler for, I'm only going to let that unwind just to the, number is that? The number 6 opening. So I don't want this to get too big. Once I've let it uncoil just a bit, let me make sure this isn't going to be too big. This may still be too big. That's going to be quite a bit bigger than that. I think it'll be okay, though. Yeah, that's going to be just right, I think. So half, you can use this one. And I'm using the number
6.
I just want to make sure the number 6 is the same. I don't think it might not be. Just use this one, because I know what I need to do. And I need for you to make, why don't you make 6 petals for me? We're using half a strip, so you need 3 strips of yellow. That's very helpful that we already had a flower done. I didn't know about. Okay, and I'm going to get 2 more strips here, and I'll make 6 petals.
Do you have an extra quilling one there?
A tool?
I need to dig through the box. Okay, perfect.
I have one I leave on my desk all the time.
Terminology is quilling thing, right?
What's that?
I said terminology is quilling
Yeah,
thing, right?
of
Not
course.
tool.
Of course.
Well, you know, when I said, I don't know what you call it. It's that pokey thing.
Yeah.
And you had said, yeah, that's what it's called. So, see, I can just name them anything.
And I'll agree. Isn't that convenient? Okay, I'm letting that unwind just a little bit. This is how I really do it. I mean, I have my measuring tools handy, but the truth is, guys, what? Oh, Bryce just walked in with a package. Did you open it?
No.
Well, you open it.
I opened the box.
Open it up. I lost my other petal. Oh, listen, I lost my petal. What did I do? There's my other petal. Those are 2 drastically different petals. I need to make some in between. Oh, this is cute, Robert. I can't even see it yet. But I can see from here. It's adorable. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
That's
it's so
hard.
cute.
Is that the kit? The
No.
album kit?
No, this is Roberta's design.
Own design. That makes it even better.
Okay. All right. There's nothing quite like seeing the reaction live, Roberta. Good planning on your time. Okay. Well, let me see that before I get into coiling again. This is for you and the girls to put some of your favorite recipes in. Oh, don't forget your roll recipe, Bryce. It's a must. Okay. Please show the girls in class. We're going to do that. All right. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Look at this, guys. She's taken little gold corners. I just ordered some of those. These are off Amazon. They're very inexpensive. And I wasn't sure what I was going to get. Now I'm excited about getting them. I just ordered those. Okay, we got this beautiful cover. Roberta, that is just stunning, hon. I love it. She's put it all on a ring, and then she's used hole reinforcers on her. Look here, a cute little tag page. This is a great place to say what this album is, who made it. And it was a gift from our friend Roberta. It has a blank recipe card in the front pocket. That's a gorgeous stamp you found, isn't it? Where'd you find the stamp? Let's give credit to the company if we can. The stamp is what company? Oh, the Rocky song when we're looking at the album. There we go. The cover got a little askew. She used these fun tabs. Oh, and then she's got recipes pulling out of the pockets. That's very clever, Roberta. This is a lot of work, and we really appreciate the beautiful gift. My gosh, that's amazing. She's got more recipe cards under a slider here. I love these little tabs you use. Those are beautiful. And she's reinforced every page.
Are you a teardrop or a marquee for this staff?
A marquee. Wow. Lots of little pockets. Really gorgeous, Roberta. And all these little blue tabs have recipe cards attached to them. This is a gift of love right here. That's beautiful, my friend. More cards under here. Thank you, my friend. This is really beautiful. I love it.
She said that it's a Photoshop, she thinks, for the stamp. It's
okay.
Not a stamp, it's Photoshop.
Huh. Well, that's great. Pull outs. Multiple cards in that pocket. She's really got this stuffed full of cards. We'll be able to get a lot of recipes in here. This is really beautiful, Roberta. Very, very nicely done. Your finished work is gorgeous. More pullouts here. More pullout or more slide outs. Punched ones here. This is just beautiful, Roberta. That's a very touching gift. Wow. Thank you so much, my friend. It's beautiful. I love it, and I will cherish it. And I will chase Bryce down until he gets me some of my favorite recipes in it. The tough part about chasing Bryce down with recipes is that he seldom uses a recipe. All his favorite dishes he just makes out of his head. And some of the very best things he makes out of what's in the refrigerator. And he just starts adding a little of this and a little of that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at from the side, from the front, from the back. That is magnificent, my friend. I totally love it. Thank you very much. That's gorgeous. Okay. So back to curling. Curling. I keep losing my little maid curls, which is not conducive to getting this done. There we go. There's two of them. One was under my board.
Say hi to Karen.
Hi, Karen. So it's hard to track him down, but sometimes I can get him to stop and say, okay, but what's step 1, step 2, step 3? And I can sometimes get a recipe from him. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, I'm curling it. We're using half strips of yellow. I'm going to let it unwind just a little. If you wanted to be more precise in the sizing, use the curling ruler to let them expand just right. When I make flowers, I usually don't worry about them being exact because I think nature makes all the petals slightly different, all the leaves slightly different. I mean, they might be of a variety and they will look greatly similar, but the sizes and stuff will all be different. Flower to flower, and even within the same flower. So I don't worry about precision too much when I'm making flowers. I love that gift. Hi, Kim. I'm letting my petal unwind just a little and pinching it a little in the back, and then I pinch it in the front and we get what's called a marquee. Now, when we did our last project, we worked all with teardrops. This is a teardrop that you squeeze the other side of. Come in a little closer, would you, Margie, just so I can show this?
Sorry, we pulled it back for the book.
There we go. So we squeeze it on both sides and we end up with what's called a marquee. This one's a little bit more obvious. See, it's just pinched on both sides. So I have 4. This will be number 5. Yes, we are quilling, Karen. We're making this. Okay. Okay, we've got this done. I'm going to glue it. Well, it takes a little glue on the end. I'm going to wrap it around. Oops, that's silly. I glued it before I let it expand. Now we'll let it expand and then we'll glue it again. Okay, there's my little petal. And this will be my last one. Margie's making another over there, and we already had one flower finished, so. Just wind it up. Why do we squeeze it? We squeeze it because we want to shape these round coils into petal-like shapes.
It reminds me of the iris, the Egyptian style iris to make the marquees. You almost kind of see an eyeball in the middle with all the little lines.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
Okay.
the Egyptian
So the reason
part-
we squeeze it, Kim,
Okay.
so the reason we squeeze it, Kim, is because that's what's making the petal shape. I squeeze it on one end to get the teardrop, then I squeeze the other end to get the marquee shape, and it becomes a petal. Okay, now, can I have some of your petals, Margie, so I can kind of match up the ones that are closest to the same sizes? I have some pretty dramatically different ones.
I don't.
Yours are all the same. Look at that. Ours are beautiful. Okay. All right. Those 5 definitely want to go together. And then I will add that one maybe. Okay. All right. Next, we want to do our center cone. And that's why I have my crimper here. I'm going to run this through the crimper, but I only need it to crimp just the last couple of rolls around. So I'm crimping just the end of my paper. See there? Hi, Andrea. And we're going to roll this up in a tight roll with the crimped end at the back. So I'm starting on the other end. And I'm going to roll right over the top of that, roll up, including that crimped part. And I'm going to leave this one in a tight coil and glue it off. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Yes. Continuing to send love and prayers to Mary R. Okay, I'm going to actually use a pen to push this in just a little bit. I'm kind of making a little mini cone out of this pretty little orange center. And now I'm going to glue it together. All right. I'm putting glue on both sides of one of my petals. I'm going to take my stem. I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm actually going to glue this in as I'm gluing them together. So I'm just going to add a little glue on both sides of my stem, right at the end like that. Did I ever tell you guys that I think the 3 most terrifying words in the English language are "some assembly required"? Margie has tools and is not afraid to use them, so that is a very good thing. A very, very good thing.
Yeah,
Continuing.
said, can you put my little drawer thing together? I said, sure.
She's perfectly capable of doing it too.
Oh, I know she is. But I figure she can do other things faster than I can. And
That's
I
true.
can do that faster than she probably can.
Good point.
So I didn't mind.
Okay.
Kim wants to know if your quilling strip become too thick.
Whoops. My quilling strips become too thick. I'm not sure what you're asking. When are they getting thick, Kim? Um, when I made my stem, they got thick because I wanted them to hold the flower up. And oh, are you asking if it's too hard to pinch it when it's in the coil? Sometimes, if you let it, it sometimes it can be a little harder to pinch when they're in a tighter coil, but they're not bad. I'm going to put, because I'm pushing the center of this little cone that's going in the center back
Say hi to Diane.
a little ways. Sometimes they don't end up with much of a coil at the outside. Hi, Diane. I'm glad you stepped in to see us anyway. There's our first daffodil. Actually, it's our second because we already had one. And this one's just a little bigger than that one, but that's okay because they can be different sizes. Do you have one more petal?
I put it over there already.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to put a stem right into this one. If you forget to put it in, or you just get a bunch of flowers done and you didn't have the stem in it, you can just put your stem piece right in between two petals and let it dry. So we're going to let that dry a minute. We're going to go ahead and put this one together. Then we're going to assemble our pot, which, speaking of our pot, look, it's already dry inside.
Goes quickly. One of the things that I appreciated was seeing the ladies doing their pots and all different types of things. So I like the terracotta idea, but I really like seeing how some of the ladies had little cream colored pots with the line of blue, or so
yes.
If you have like a favorite kind of pot that you're wanting to mimic, you just have to change up the colors.
Yes, you do. And you can glue different, like Margie was saying, you can glue different pieces together, end to end, and create a fun color scheme for your pot. Uh-oh. Now this is the part where sometimes I use my pen board if things just don't seem to be lining up nicely for me and they're being contrary. Sometimes I use my pen board to hold everything in place while I'm working. Right now they seem to be working okay. I'm not going to put this stem in quite as far as I did last time because I would like my little cone on my center to kind of drop down a little bit in there. So I'm going to try and leave a little bit of a gap in the center. If you're gluing against a surface like I am here, it's good to be gluing on a surface where you can pull it loose without having it like not be gluing over another piece of paper where you're getting stuck to the surface.
And if you don't have glass, wax paper works great.
Wax paper works great on these boards too. Because you actually can glue it right into the cork if you're not being careful. That would be a trick I would pull. Getting it right in the cork. Okay, I'm going to open this up just a little bit in the center, maybe. Maybe I will. Kind of, my plan might not work. And put some glue around the bottom of this center. Try and kind of set it down in there a little bit. Oh, that worked though. Got it. Yay me. Whoops. It's going to want to sit before I move it at all. Okay, while we're waiting for those flowers to dry, we're going to start preparing our pot. We have a bunch of little flower or leaves done here. I need to show you how to do the leaf too.
Yeah, I think you have one still to make in order to make 12.
Okay.
If I counted right.
All right. Use some of these shorter ones from the outside.
Use my little tiny guys. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I tend to go small.
You do, and that's fine. I just appreciate having the help getting them done. Okay, I'm going to use 6 leaves around the outside, and I'm going to use 6 leaves actually on my flowers. Okay. Okay. I like that. Yes, I have one more to do. Okay. Let me show you how we're going to make our leaves. It's so easy. So very easy. I'm going to take one of my green quilling strips. This is leaf green. And I'm going to use a whole strip in each leaf. Okay. I'm going to start at one end.
Sorry, they can't see, so I'm going to bring it out just a little bit.
I'm going to put just a tiny dot of glue on the end. I'm going to fold this in so I have about a 1/2 inch that's wrapped over. See that? So I'm creating a little loop at the end. It's about a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to take the rest of my strip. See where I am? And we're going to wrap around. Yeah, I'm surprised he's not here. He really likes quilling. I'm going to wrap around. I'm going to touch it with a little bit of glue. And I want to have about a 1/4 inch gap. See that?
He wasn't feeling great last week.
Can you guys see what I'm doing all right? We're going to wrap this around again. We're going to leave about a 1/4 inch gap at the top. Where are you? There you are. Leave about a 1/4 inch gap, and I'm going to glue it at the bottom. I'm not using any tools or anything to do this. I could use a comb to do this. I could use a husking board to do this. But this particular shape I just enjoy doing by hand. It's quick, it's easy, and they turn out great. What more is there to love? I'm going to glue it at the bottom. I'm going to wrap it around. That one wasn't long enough. I'm going to back that up a little bit. Okay, there we go. That looks great. About 1/4 of an inch each time. We're going to glue it at the bottom. Come up and around. Leave about 1/4 of an inch. Glue it at the bottom. Wrap it around. Can everybody tell what I'm doing okay? Are there any questions on this? Glue it at the bottom. Wrap it around. We're getting towards the end now. When you get to where it won't go a full rotation, if you're going to end like in the lower part of the side, go ahead and take it around and just glue it to the side. But you're going to go until you can't get another full rotation. You're going to tear it off then. Glue it and tear it off. And this, then what I like to do is I like to kind of push down on it a little bit, and I end up with this marvelous leaf pattern just by going up and around. I absolutely can do another one, Kim. Okay, let's do another. Strips, controlling your strips. When I first started quilling, I did not have any organizational system to control my strips. And before long, I had a bird's nest of quilling strips that were such a mess that I could hardly get any strips out. I didn't know what I had. It was just awful. In fact, one night in quilling club, I grabbed the whole mess of strips out of the bottom of my basket and said, "Does anybody want this?" They all came out in one big glob. And one of the ladies said, "Yeah, I'll take them home and have my grandkids sort them for me." So I put them in a paper bag for her. She took them home. And then I got these wonderful little bags. I got to show them to you. They're just fabulous. We have some 3 by 10-inch bags in the store. What I do now is when I open a bag of quilling paper, I take off the tag and I keep it. That's going to tell me what my width is, and it's going to tell me what the color and number of those strips are. So when I'm running out, if I want to reorder them, I can. And I just slip that tag right into my bag. And then I replace these cellophane bags that tear and your strips fall out and stuff with my neat little zipper bag. And I keep them all neat and orderly. I want to show you what my strip collection looks like now. This is honest to goodness. I did not straighten them up because I was going to show you or anything. This is what my strip collection looks like now.
Which is not what it looked like when she handed out the bird's nest.
No, not at all.
No.
So I just have everything organized, my strips laying into my neat little container. And when I go to look for something, it's very easy for me to flip through and find the color I want. So that's what I use now. So controlling your strips, it will save you money in the long run. And the little strip bags, the 3 by 10-inch bags, I think they're less than $7, I believe. Okay, so our flowers are done. The first thing I want to do is I want to glue on a couple of leaves. Actually, I think I was going to.
Irene said goodnight, and Donna joined us.
Oh, hi, Donna, and good night, Irene. I want to take my leaves And I'm going, for the ones I'm going to attach to my flowers, I'm going to pinch them off a little bit on the top. And I'm going to bend them just a little. See that? And I'm going to put one of them on my stem. It will be about this, not quite as high as my flower, but right up there with my flower so that you can see the pretty work on the
$6.49 for 100 of them.
$6.49 for the bags.
And it's 100 pieces.
100 pieces to a bag. Okay, so I glued that one on. I'm going to get another one of my leaves. I'm going to kind of mold it out the other way. I'm going to put a little glue on that one. I'm going to put it on my stem, maybe just a little below the last one. And now I have a daffodil with flowers. Okay. Next, I'm going to grab my next flower. I'm going to do the same things. Glue my leaf on. Bend my leaf a little to the side. You can see how beautiful these would be on cards too, right? And if I was doing a card with these, I might still use the quadruple stem because it's really easy on a card for your quilling to get bent where you have little single layers. The leaves are protected by the fact that there are just so many rotations going around, but the stems could easily get bent. Get our last flower here, which I did, there it is, which I did something with. A paper pad from Heartfelt Christmas you will use with the small poinsettias. I do. I want to use the Candlelit Christmas. Candlelit. I think it's called Candlelit Christmas. Nope.
No glow?
Nope. Candlelit Christmas is what the one I'm going to use when I do the poinsettias. I know that because I absolutely want to use some of those images with the candle and those little tiny poinsettias. I just think they're going to be adorable. So Candlelit Christmas is the paper pad from Heartfelt that I will use with the poinsettias. Almost done putting our leaves on our flowers.
I know why it's got a glow in
There's a
head,
Candlelit Christmas glow too.
The glow of Christmas.
Yeah, there's a glow of Christmas that actually is part of that set.
Yeah. I'm like, why do I have glow in my head?
Yeah.
That's why.
And then there's also the Candlelit Stamp and Die set, which are going to be on sale also. I'm not sure I have them in there yet, but they're going to be on sale when I do my when I do my class.
You know,
okay.
Those things
I'm going to see how high these poinsettias. Now I'm talking about poinsettias, so I think I have to. Okay, these are a little too long. You can see that they're going to stand up way too high. So I'm going to trim my stems a little bit. It's good to start with a longer stem, of course, and then get a shorter one. This one's already probably short enough. I'm going to take a bit off of these, get them to stand up straight in there. And you're probably wondering, how in the world am I going to get these to stay in this empty pot? Well, Well, I figured out that the way to do that was to glue some foliage, some more leaves, around the inside, front and back. In fact, yes, they're asking for a link to the paper pad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fair amount of glue on this, and I'm going to stand this leaf up in the front of my container, just like that. Hopefully you can see that, because I can't see what you're seeing right this second. There we go. Yeah. I'm gluing it right to the pot. And you might link the poinsettia bundle, or the bundle that's on sale too.
The current bundle.
Yeah, if that paper, don't buy that paper pack yet, guys. I'm going to put it on sale. I know that's a silly thing to say, don't buy it, but I'm going to put it on sale for half price, so I don't want you to buy it until I have it marked down for you. I'll get it marked down tonight, but in fact, Margie could probably do it now if she wanted to. But I just don't want you to pay full price for something I'm going to mark down. My computer's here if you need it, Margie.
I can quickly just step into the other room because I've already been doing tons of inventories.
Okay. So I'm just gluing these leaves. I made 6 extra leaves, and I'm gluing these leaves around the edge of my pot. What that's going to do is give me something to glue to. These are glued right to the pot, and that is going to give me something to attach my flowers to. Whoops. It doesn't take long for the glue to set in there. Oh, I told you I'd make another leaf, and I haven't done it yet. I will. Let me get these glued in, and while we're waiting for these to dry, I'll make another leaf, okay? I get easily distracted. Like walking along with a perfectly sound business objective in my head, and then suddenly it's like, oh, look, a kitty. And it's all gone. I completely lose what I was doing. That happens to me when I'm crafting too. Okay, and once again I'm gluing right over the face of these leaves, just a bit in the bottom, and then putting the leaves right into my pot. You can see how much that closes in my pot to just put those 6 leaves in there. Okay, let's make another leaf while we wait for those to dry just a bit so we can glue against them. If they fall off, just push them back, but let them dry good before you start trying to add your flowers as a matter of frustration management. I'll set this here where you can see it. Okay, let's make another leaf. I think it was Kim that asked, so here we go, Kim. I'm putting a little spot of glue on my paper. I'm going to fold this over about a ½ inch, and I'm going to create my first loop. It's going to be about a ½ inch long. Next, I'm going to wrap my paper underneath here, under that loop, and I'm going to come up over the top, and I'm going to leave about a ½ inch gap between that loop and the next loop. I'm just wrapping it around, and I'm going to glue it at the bottom. Paper pads are now half price. Paper pads are now half price. So if you link on that again, you'll see that the paper pads are now $12.50. There you go. Now we're going to wrap this around again. I want you guys to get a really nice collection of this Christmas stuff, and I don't want you to have to pay a whole lot for it. And
They said you're off screen. Sorry.
I'm off screen?
That's what they said.
Okay.
Probably at some point when I was in there not watching. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, each time we wrap around, we're coming back up and we're adding 1/4 of an inch to the length of our leaf, just wrapping it around the existing base. And there we go.
I did not move it into the bundled discounts because it was faster for me just to put in the price.
Okay. It's not in the bundle discount area. It's in the Heartfelt Creations section.
Just click that link that we put up.
Click the link we put up. You can always find things like that too by putting quotation marks around the 2 words candlelit Christmas. Candlelit is 1 word. And that will bring it up also. Okay, I'm getting down to the end of my paper now. And so I'm going to glue this at the bottom. And I'm going to tear off the extra. Now, what I have here is kind of a spear looking leaf, and that's okay, but I like to add some body back to it. So I kind of squish it down and then round it out again, and I end up with this beautiful leaf. Did you get it this time, Kim? You got it? Everybody got how to make the leaves? There's nothing magical, by the way, of putting 6 leaves in here. I just found that generally gets me around the base of my pot. Okay, now I'm going to take my first flower. I usually try to get to the tallest one in the center. Doesn't really matter, but I try to do that. This is one of my shorter ones. I'm going to add a good amount of glue to the side of that flower. And I'm going to come right on in, and I'm going to glue that into my center, into the center area. It's kind of hanging to one side. That's appropriate because there's 3 flowers going in. Now I'm going to take the one that's going to go on the other side. I'm actually going to trim this a little bit more because it's the same height as my center flower. I'm going to trim it a little bit. I'm going to put a good amount of glue. And I'm going to glue this to the other side. Now we're ending up with a really nice full flower pot, aren't we? It's okay with me that I have a leaf kind of blocking that flower just a little. If the flowers try to fall off, that's not unusual. Just give them a little bit more glue. And you might need to use a tool of some sort. I'm going to use my scissors or my finger, maybe just my finger, and push that in a little bit to the side. Push that in a little bit to the side. If you want them to be a little taller than they are on your stems, you can pull them up a little bit. Hold them against the side of your pot or against the foliage, whatever it is you're gluing to. I think I'd like these to set up just a little higher than the leaves, so I'm going to come in and push them into the side of my pot a little higher. They're asking you, will you please link the dies?
I thought that I had, but maybe I did not. I just had it ready to go.
The dies are a great deal. The dies, this is for your die, your mold, and your stamps. So you get the whole 9 yards here.
Well, look, not only had I had it ready to go, I just hadn't hit.
I think I might do the poinsettias next week. When are you doing your next flower, Margie?
I thought we were doing poinsettias in July. Are we changing that?
We could do it in July, but we need to do it early in July if we're going to do it in July because they'll need them for some of the projects.
Haha. Well, it's totally up to you guys. Really.
Well, what do we have done on the calendar?
I have hyacinth. Do we have it in the calendar?
I think so. I don't want to do mine right on top of yours. That's the thing. And you can just kind of arrange these around a little bit in your pot. My center flower is being obstinate. But I have plenty.
Guess what? Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. So
I knew it was coming up, but I wasn't sure when.
I'm going to take my scissors and reach down in there and push that into my other flower stems a little bit. Hold that.
Do you guys want to flip it? And you have no classes for the 22nd because you're not going to be here on the 22nd. I could do the hyacinth then if you wanted to do poinsettias next week, but that would be 2 flowers this month.
That would be 2 flowers, one on top of the other, wouldn't
it? 2 weeks apart.
Okay.
1 week and a half apart.
Look how cute that is, guys. Now, I promised I was going to do a tulip for you. For those who voted tulips. Look at that. Isn't that just so cute? These would be like really fun, wonderful little remembrance gifts for like other teachers or for your child's teacher. You know, it's not going to take up a lot of room. It's something that you've handmade so it doesn't create an obligation, you know. This would just be the cutest little thing to give to somebody, wouldn't it? Put a little tag on it and make a card out of it, you know, by attaching a tag with your information. And there we go. It's easy. Can you guys see how easy it is to make that? So easy. I actually need one more leaf, so I'm going to show you one more time. We have 1 stem left. I planned that appropriately. I underplanned for leaves.
Do you want me to do the 1 leaf while you work on your tulip? Or
no, it's okay. I'll just do it. We're fine. We're only at 5:14. So we're doing great for having made a pot. And the flowers and the leaves, we're doing super good. Thelma's giving me a meow, meow, meow because she and Naughty Kitty voted for tulips.
Oh, is that how that works?
That's how that works. When you don't have enough personal votes, bring Naughty Kitty into it. We're going to make the tulips surprisingly a bit like the daffodils. We're going to make 3 petals. Each of those petals is going to use half a strip. Actually, we're going to make 4 petals per 4. Sorry. Lost my mind temporarily there. Just got it back. Now Kitty likes it. These are just fun little friend remembrances. You go see a friend, you like to take them something. Nothing that creates an obligation, just something little cute These are just too cute for that. Maybe you're giving a birthday card to somebody, and it's not somebody you usually buy gifts for, but you want to, just remember them in a special way. Give them a little flower pot with a tag card. Okay, we're going to curl our half strip. I'm using scarlet, in case you care. You can use any color you want. You can have purple tulips. You can have yellow tulips. You can have all kinds of tulips. They're just so easy to do and so darn cute. Okay, so I have my little coil. I'm going to let my little coil unwind just a bit. I'm going to say I would let it unwind to on my little Quilt Creations ruler. I'm going to say I would let this unwind to probably a 5 on the Quilt Creations ruler. And put a little dab of glue on it.
I always love when you do quilling, how your glue ends up in that funny little shape at the top of your tip.
What's that?
Each time you get this really unique little...
Yeah. Okay, I glued that, and I squeezed one end, and now I have a teardrop. You see that? Now, for a tulip, you want to have 2 teardrops, and you want to have 2 paisleys. So, to make that teardrop into a paisley, I'm just going to take my thumb, and I'm going to kind of bend that around my thumb so that I have a paisley shape. I'd like to be able to show this to you. Can you find me a pair of tweezers, please? I'd just like to be able to show you closer in the camera some of these shapes without my big fingers in the way. Here comes Margie with a tweezer. Thank you. Just one. That's good.
Just wasn't sure which one you needed.
Just want to be able to show them without having my big fingers in the way, so they can see. Here's my paisley. And you see how it's, well, you could have seen before I dropped it, how it's just kind of flattened out on one side. Bent just a bit. So I need one of those. I need another one of those. So now we've learned a tight coil, a loose coil. We've learned how to make a 3D pot. We've learned how to make a teardrop. We've learned how to make a marquee. And now we've learned how to make a paisley. All while you thought you were just, making some simple little projects. With those shapes, you can do almost anything. I'm going to let this unwind a bit to about what would be a 6. Glue it. Pinch it into a teardrop. Now take that teardrop and make it into a paisley by simply bending, using my thumb to wrap it around, and bending it with the other thumb. And now I have 2 paisley shapes. That was 2 paisleys will form the outside.
Glue bottle just a tad.
Yes.
Please, thank you.
Those two paisley shapes will form the outside of our flower. And it seems a little weird, but yeah, it's actually a pretty good butterfly. Those two paisley shapes are placed point side up, which seems weird. I'm going to put my stem in between the two. Now I'm going to take another strip. You want to make me one more leaf, please? I take another strip. I'm going to... Ooh. A tulip festival. That sounds fun. Tulips line the street. We have a tulip farm and an iris farm in Woodburn, about 20 miles from here, you think, Margie?
The Woodburn one is more, I think, tulips. But when you're going down near Salem, well, it's right along in there. I think it's like closer to Kaiser is the iris. But did you know that the largest group of tulips they're claiming the world is up in the Seattle area?
Huh. No, I didn't know that.
I had no clue. They have this whole little go to 3 different tulip places for 1 ticket.
Whoops.
It's amazing.
Teardrop. We're using the teardrop point side up. I know that seems counterintuitive, but that's what we're doing. We're going to put this point side up. We're going to put a good amount of glue on the base of this. Like that. And then stick it to your board by dropping it full of glue. I don't know if it still has enough glue on it to stick. Here's a one-sided tulip. Actually got those 2 sides out just a little bit. Here's a single-sided tulip. Now, we're going to make our tulip 3-dimensional by putting a petal on the other side also, so that when you look at them in the pot, they look almost round. Everybody wears wooden shoes. Okay, roll up my coil, let it unwind to what will be about 6 on my gauge. I'm eyeballing it. I always do. You don't have to use the guide, but the guide will give you consistency. And put a good amount of glue on the bottom of my petal here. Let's try not to drop this one. I turned my single-sided tulip upside down. I dropped it again. Now I got the glue on my board again. Well, I think all is well in the world. Chase my tulip all over the place. I'm going to put my petal right in the middle. And now we have a 3-dimensional tulip. Let's put a leaf on. I'm going to bend this leaf out a bit. Stick this right to the stem. I'm going to bring it down to where it is comparable to the height of my flower. Margie's just finishing our other leaf, as I gave her no notice that was coming.
I offered.
You did.
So, once you offer, it's just up for grabs. At least that's my opinion of it.
Well, Margie finishes that. Let me show you a couple of my other flowers. Here's my other tulip pot, just so you can see how they kind of vary. It's the one we made today. My other one. This is my tulip pot. So there, I make the leaves just the same way for the tulips I did for the daffodils. Move one of these out just a minute. And here is my crocus pot. Now, crocus were a little challenging in that they don't have foliage. So it was a little interesting to glue them into my pot. I made all of my crocus in purple and yellow, and then they're like the tulips, except they're the other way around, the round sides up. And I made a whole bunch of them, glued them to the sides, glued them to the center, and then I got some little rocks from the dollar store, little tiny pebbles, and I filled it with rocks to keep like my stem standing up straight.
Little fish aquarium bags, right? Little fish gravel.
Like from that, except yeah, they're just tiny. I don't know where they went. They're over here somewhere. I don't know. Yeah. Like this. These little bags were, I guess it's $1.25 store now, the Dollar Tree anyway. And I put the gravel in to help hold my flower stems up. And then this is my lavender. And you can see how I made the lavender. Let's see if we can turn this so we can see one of the petals really well. Well, let's look at this one. On this one, I made my little teardrop. I made these really small. I think I used 6-inch strips. And then I glued this. I glued my stem to the bottom side of the first one. And then I made 2 more, and I put them side by side, made 2 more and put them under those, made 2 more and put them under those, made 2 more and put them under those, so that it looked, oops, just like that. And because I wanted three-dimensional flowers, then I took some teardrops and I glued them right down the front, overlapping them slightly.
It made a huge difference to put that layer on.
And then to make the leaves for these, I took my 1/8-inch strips and I cut about 1/2 to 5/8 inch off of the edge and left a point at the top. And then I cut the same amount off the other side, so I just made spears. And I added those spears to my lavender. So that's my lavender plant. This is made using the shimmery strips too. You can see the difference, can't you? See the shimmer in those versus the Okay, let's glue the last leaf on our tulip. I'm not going to put it together in a pot because that would be a whole new class. But I did promise you a tulip. So a tulip you shall have. See how much fun quilling can be? And it's such an easy craft. It's not expensive. There's a few basic tools. I think I pulled out most of the basic tools for class today because they're things you can use. You don't actually have to. You notice that this was helpful in making my pot. I don't absolutely have to have it, but it was helpful. The other tools that I've used here today are my ruler. I do recommend having one of these in your box because it makes it easy to tear your strips. It has a few basic shapes. If you find you like using the sizer on this, then they make a bigger one. And you got every size under the sun then. I didn't use this today, but sometimes when I'm gluing my things together and I get tired of chasing my petals around the desk, I pin them in place and glue them down, and that can be a really good use. This also happens to have a small, it doesn't have a huge variety, but it has some of the basic sizes of sizers on it. These are actually probably the 3 most common ones I use.
I like that they're just kind of all together and you can just drop a few in a row and then keep going.
It's nice. This was certainly not essential, but fun for making our, you can't really see on air, I don't think, that our,
if we can bring it really close in if we don't move it. There you go.
I don't know if you can see our, you just told me not to move. I was just trying to see if I could see the corrugation in there.
Right there, perfect.
And I think maybe we have a little bit more in the ones we made today. Let's try that. I did make these a little bit more concave. See, there's the corrugation. You got a good view of it right there. So you don't actually have to do that. It's just fun. So there we go. There's our tulip. We could easily turn that into a tulip pot the same way we just did. What else do I have? I think I showed you my little greenhouse before. That's not from me. That was actually from Amazon. But I do like my little pots in there. What kind of questions do you guys have for me? Is there something you want to see again? Is it all clear as mud? Is there anything else you'd like to, is there anything else you'd like to see in quilling? I love quilling. I would happily do quilling regularly.
I think what would happen if we did like a quilling every other month? So in that way, it just
maybe even once a month.
Once a month.
What do you guys think of that? Doing quilling once a month? I tried to advocate for doing it every week. They didn't go for that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I thought.
But what do you think about quilling like once a month? Would that be fun? Are there any, what else do you guys want to see? I can tell you what I have coming up this week. What I have coming up this week is beautiful birds. We're going to be using actually the frames that we're using this time are not from Find It Trading. They're from Heartfelt Creations. And I got to talk with Margie and see if Margie has time to put our kit together. We need to decide what we're going to do, though. I think we have 4 embossing folders and techniques. I actually have a class lined out on that one, Pam. That's great. Can roses be quilled? They certainly can. One of my students in the quilling class last night did a rose that was absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. She quilled a flat rose. I don't know about a three-dimensional rose. I'm certain it can be done. Do I have the skills to do it? That's the question. I'll look at it and play with it. How about if I say that? And then if I can come up with a good one, I'll show you once a month on quilling. Okay. All right. So one Thursday a month we'll do a quilling class. I really do enjoy it. I love it. Foiling. We did that huge, gigantic foiling series, Pam. For that one, I'd like to refer you back to the video series that we did. Margie and I did a 3 or 4 part foiling series just it's more than a couple months ago, within the last year.
Yeah, it's been right before Christmas, right after Christmas.
Yeah, we did a big session on foiling. So I'm going to refer you back to the videos on that one. If you can't find them, let me know. Sharma says, surprise me. She says that's what she likes. She told me that in one of the comments, that she likes to just be surprised with what we come up with to work on. So I don't know how much time Argie's going to have to put these together, but we'll talk about it after class. It's an easy assemble. So this will have the die set that we're going to use to make the beautiful frames and accents. I love this one. It's actually a Heartfelt Creations die we're using for this. It'll have the paper pack from Find It Trading. It will have 3-dimensional birds from Find It Trading. What I need to know from you is, do you guys want this kit to include, do you want to do it like we did, like we did last time, where you supply your own cards, foam squares, and mirror board? Or do you want me to include them in the class kit? Do you guys, all of them sold out last time, I think, all of them. I think maybe we reclaimed one for somebody who didn't show for a class on site. But you seem to have liked the pricing of the last kit. So I'd just like to ask you, do you want this kit to include the mirror board, the cards, the mirror board, the cards, and the foam squares, or do you want to supply those yourself? I just need to know, do you get the die in the kit? Yes, you will get the die in the kit. You'll get the paper pack. You'll get the 4 sheets of push outs to make the birds.
And if you don't do the mirror board and the cards, then it's a lower cost than if we put it in there.
Right. If I put the cards in the kit and the mirror board in the kit and the foam squares in the kit, it will be more expensive. Kim prefers it to be all inclusive. Do we have other votes? Mary says I have plenty of Mary cards and foam squares. So I have 1 vote on either side. Give me some feedback, guys, what you would like. And then we'll make it with everything Roberta says. No, as long as we can have the size of the cards beforehand. We won't have them beforehand because I'm making them live on the air on Saturday. I have some thoughts mapped out to save some time on Saturday, but I'm making the cards online Saturday. I can tell you that I will likely use 5x5 and European A6 though. So those are the cards that I will use. You could very easily substitute 4 1/4 by 5.5 cards for the European A6 if you wanted to. Any other thoughts? I've got a couple people saying make it with everything. A couple people saying I really have everything already. Any more? Also, my supplies are all over and hard to find. Okay, so it's no, that's still all inclusive. Okay, any other thoughts? We can put the cards in. I'm not opposed at all to doing that. I just want to make them in a way that makes it as affordable for you as possible. And if you already have other things, then all inclusive is good. So I'm seeing pretty much a preponderance going with make them inclusive. Isn't that what you're seeing?
3 votes for inclusive and 2 votes.
Oh, okay. Anybody else who's going to participate in this class want to vote while you're thinking about it?
The kit will be available as soon as we have an answer, and I'll put it together tonight before I leave.
These are beautiful, beautiful birds. This is one of the sheets that's going to be in. Put card and envelopes in, please. I think that's the second vote from the same person, though. Here's another one of the sheets. So it's hard to know with foam squares because some of you like 1 millimeter foam squares and some of you like 2 millimeter. If I build a kit, it will probably be 2s because that's what I will use. Here's what the book looks like. And I've already torn a lot of pages out of it, kind of staging my cards. The papers are beautiful as always. So again, I've already torn a lot of sheets out of here, but look how beautiful it is. Isn't it gorgeous? This is really going to be an exceptional kit, I am telling you that. Every one of these Find It trading end up being really exceptional kits, though. I just love doing them. Did you see that? Thank you, Margie. You're awesome. I was reading your comments on your classes lately. I don't know if you've read them, but you have comments on your classes too. I started asking people to leave comments on the classes down under the, because that counts for YouTube too, I've learned. Look at that. Does it get any prettier than that? I just don't think so. Beautiful. Ah, your 3rd anniversary with SSC. Congratulations. Okay, and there's other sheets that are already pulled out, but just beautiful. They're going to be great. They're going to be so pretty. Some of these are going to sit right on top of these filigree frames, and others, this has an actual frame die in it too. And in some cases, I'm going to cut the corners off. We're going to have all kinds of wonderful options available. So I'm going to say that the majority of the votes were for a complete kit. I think that I'm going to have to guesstimate a bit on the cards since I haven't built them yet. I have to guesstimate a little bit, but we'll do that. Do you guys want me to, here's the other question. We'll make about a half a dozen cards in class probably. To hold the cost down, do you want me to put, this kit will make 12 cards, but do you want me to put like 6 cards in envelopes or 12 cards and envelopes in? I know I'm giving you lots of choices today, but it does make a difference in the cost. Hey, Glenn. Oh, we got to show you what we made. Look how beautiful. We made these. We made this one today to show us how to make the 3D tulips. This is actually the one we made today. Aww. Aren't they beautiful? I see that, Diane. That's beautiful. Thank you. That wonderful sentiment. And then I showed you guys all of my other little quilled plants. So I'm not seeing a definite. If I don't see a definite, we're going to put supplies in for everything. Okay, so we're going to build our kits. We're going to be all inclusive. we'll try to have the kits up tonight. And 6 is okay. Okay. Kim's saying just the 6. Any other votes on that before I make decisions? Okay. I want to show you something else I have coming up before too long. Brittany just reminded me I had this. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it yet, but it looks like I'm going to have some fun. I had stashed back some of, you can't get these at all anymore. I had stashed back some catch of the day. Okay, everybody's saying just 6 cards. So let's do like 3 5x5s or 5 1/4s. I don't care. And 3 of the A6s. We'll add a sheet of foam squares. But I had these. I have these, which are the ephemera. And I have these journaling cards stashed. And I'm going to put together a class of some sort in card making
using a box under the table.
And using these catch of the day. So that is coming up soon, and you can't get those anywhere. And you're sure to have some. I'm positive we will end up having some beautiful nautical touches to those. Might have a die used or something. I'm not sure yet. I have to play with it and figure out what I'm going to do with them. But this has been great fun, guys. We'll get your kits put together tonight for Saturday. If you guys ever want a kit for the quilling, we can do that. I don't know that you want me to do a kit for this with all the tools I used today, because that would be expensive. But remember that some of those tools are absolutely optional.
And we have all the colors.
We have every color of the Quilt Creations. Whoops, knocked over my flowers. The other thing that it helps by putting the little gravel in here is that it helps weight them so they stand up. So that's another reason why it's good. Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom for today before I sign off for tonight? If you haven't already hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up. It always makes me feel terrific, and it helps us with our YouTube ratings. Another thing we've learned that is another thing that I've learned that influences our ratings is comments down in the comments section. Tell me what you liked from today. Tell me what you didn't like from today. Tell me what you'd like to see coming up in classes. Tell me if there's supplies you'd like to find. Talk to me about what you like, what you'd like to see. And it just needs to be quick and simple. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out state of affairs. Okay? So just leave a quick comment if you would, please, because that'll help us with our YouTube ratings and help us bring in new friends. Okay? All right. So we are going to, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss anything that we're up to. There's so many good things ahead for us. Oh my gosh. So many good things coming. We've got flower making. We've got Margie is doing the hyacinths. I'm going to be doing poinsettias. We're going to be doing that. The birds. We're going to be doing the nautical kits. So many good things. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. And always please refer your friends, crafty relatives, acquaintances, craft club members to us. We promise we'll take care of them. If there's no other questions, comments, or pearls of wisdom, I'm going to say good night, Gracie.